The UES Indomitable came out of hyperspace with a flash of blue light. Captain Park Do-hyun stood on the bridge and looked at the stars around him. They were far from Earth now, very far. No human ship had ever traveled this deep into space before. "Sir, I am picking up something on the sensors," said Lieutenant Yoon Jae-woo from the helm. His young face showed worry. "Many ships, coming toward us fast." Captain Park walked closer to the main screen. He was a tall man with gray hair and calm eyes. He had fought in the Mars Colony Rebellion 20 years ago. He had seen death. He had caused death. But he had never seen anything like what appeared on his screen now. 47 ships. They were huge, much bigger than the Indomitable. Their shapes were strange, like giant insects made of metal. They moved together in a perfect curved line, like a crescent moon made of warships. "They are surrounding us," said Commander Kim Soo-jin, the first officer. She was a small woman with sharp eyes and a sharper mind. "We cannot run. They are too fast." "Then we will not run," said Captain Park quietly. The communication screen lit up. A face appeared, but it was not a human face. It was something from a nightmare. The creature had a head like an insect, with huge black eyes and mandibles that clicked when it spoke. It was covered in hard brown shell, like armor grown from its own body. "Unknown vessel," the creature said. Its voice was cold and harsh. "I am Fleet Admiral Torin of the Valorian Hegemony. You have entered the space of the Galactic Confederation. You will explain yourself." Ambassador Choi Yuna stepped forward. She was the diplomat on this mission, sent by Earth to make peaceful contact with any aliens they might find. She had prepared for this moment her whole life, but her hands were shaking a little. "Admiral Toran," she said with a polite bow, "we are humans from the planet Earth. We come in peace. We wish to learn about your people and share knowledge. We mean no harm." Admiral Toran made a sound that might have been laughter. His mandibles clicked faster. "Humans? We have never heard of you. Your ship is small and weak. Your technology is primitive. You are nothing." Commander Kim Soo-jin's eyes grew hard. She did not like being called nothing. "The Confederation has ruled this part of space for 3,000 years, Admiral Toran continued. "We have laws. We have order. You will submit to our rule, or you will face honorable correction." "What is honorable correction?" asked Captain Park. His voice was still calm. "War," said the Admiral, "but not the savage killing you primitive species practice. We fight with honor, with rules. Both sides form their ships in proper patterns. Both sides tell each other their plans of attack. Then we fight until one side accepts defeat. This is the way of civilized beings." Captain Park looked at Commander Kim. She looked back at him. Neither of them said anything, but they were both thinking the same thing. These aliens told their enemies their plans before battle? That was insane. "You will arrange your ship in proper combat formation," Admiral Toran ordered. "You will broadcast your attack patterns to us. You will follow the doctrine of honor. You have 1 hour to prepare." The screen went dark. The bridge was silent for a long moment. Then Lieutenant Yoon spoke. "Sir, what do we do? There are 47 of them and one of us. They are bigger. They have more guns. We cannot win this fight." Captain Park did not answer right away. He walked to the large window at the front of the bridge and looked out at the alien fleet. Their ships floated in perfect formation, waiting. "They think war is a game," he said finally. "They think it has rules. They think you tell your enemy what you will do before you do it." "That is very strange," said Commander Kim. "It is more than strange," said Captain Park. "It is weakness. They have never fought anyone who does not follow their rules." He turned to face his crew. "Humans do not fight with honor. We fight to survive. We fight to win. And we do not tell anyone our plans." Ambassador Choi stepped forward again. Captain, please. Let me try to talk to them again. There must be a peaceful way to solve this. You heard him, Captain Park said gently. He called us primitive. He called us nothing. He does not want peace. He wants us to kneel. Then what do we do? She asked. Captain Park looked at his crew. They were scared. He could see it in their faces. But he also saw something else. Trust. They trusted him to get them through this. Battle stations, he said quietly. Everyone to their posts. But do not fire, not yet. I want to watch them. I want to understand how they think. And when the hour is up? Asked Commander Kim. Captain Park smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of a hunter who had found his prey. When the hour is up, we will teach these aliens something new. We will teach them what humans are really like. We will teach them about war. The crew moved to their stations. The ship came alive with the sound of systems powering up. And outside, the alien fleet waited in their perfect formation, having no idea what was about to happen. They thought they understood combat. They were wrong. The hour was almost over. On the bridge of the UES Indomitable, Captain Park Do-yun watched the alien fleet on his screen. They had not moved. They sat in their perfect crescent formation like statues, waiting for the humans to follow their rules. Sir, said Chief Engineer Baek Ji-hoon from his station below decks, his voice coming through the speaker. All systems are ready. The reactor is at full power. Whatever you need, I can give it to you. Good, said Captain Park. We will need everything you have. Weapons Officer Hwang Minji sat at her station with her hands resting on the controls. She was a quiet woman who rarely spoke. But when she did speak, people listened. And when she fired weapons, she never missed. Captain, she said, I have been studying their formation. They have left gaps between their ships. Big gaps. I think it is part of their honor system. They give the enemy room to move. Commander Kim Soo-jin laughed softly. They leave gaps on purpose? That is very kind of them. The communications screen lit up again. Admiral Toran's insect face appeared, his black eyes cold and angry. Human vessel, he said. The hour is ending. You have not formed your battle position. You have not told us your attack plans. Why do you insult us with this delay? Captain Park stood up straight and faced the screen. Admiral Toran, I have thought about your offer, and I must say no. No? The Admiral's mandibles clicked in confusion. You refuse to follow the doctrine of honor? I refuse to tell you my plans, said Captain Park. I refuse to show you my formation. Where I come from, we do not announce our intentions. We just act. There was silence. Admiral Toran stared at the screen as if he could not believe what he was hearing. No species had ever refused the doctrine before. It was unthinkable. It was madness. You are without honor, the Admiral said at last. His voice was filled with disgust. You are savages. Animals. Very well. We will destroy you the traditional way. But know this, human. Your name will be remembered as a shame to your species. I can live with that, said Captain Park. The screen went dark, and then something amazing happened. The alien fleet began broadcasting their battle plans. Every ship sent out a signal showing exactly where it would move, exactly when it would fire, exactly what weapons it would use. Commander Kim stared at her screen with wide eyes. They are telling us everything, every move they will make. Is this a trick? No trick, said Captain Park. This is how they fight. This is their honor. He shook his head slowly. They have never met an enemy who would use this information against them. They cannot even imagine such a thing. Well, said Weapons Officer Hwang, her fingers moving across her controls. I can imagine it very well. I am calculating firing solutions now. I know exactly where every ship will be at every moment." The alien fleet began to move. They came forward in their perfect crescent, slowly and beautifully like a dance. Their weapons charged, their shields glowed. They were ready for honorable combat. "Lieutenant Yoon," said Captain Park, "do you see that gap in the center of their formation?" "Yes, sir." "Fly through it." Lieutenant Yoon Jae-woo smiled. He was young, but he was the best pilot in the fleet. His hands moved on the controls, and the Indomitable jumped forward like a hunting animal. The alien fleet was not ready for this. They expected the humans to hold position and exchange fire from a distance. That was how civilized species fought. But the Indomitable did not hold position. It dove straight toward the enemy, spinning and twisting in ways that should have been impossible. On the Eternal Mandate, Admiral Toran watched in shock. "What are they doing? This is not combat formation, this is chaos!" His gunners tried to shoot the human ship, but their targeting systems were designed for enemies who moved in straight lines, enemies who announced their paths. The Indomitable moved like nothing they had ever seen, changing direction every few seconds, never following a pattern. "I cannot lock on," one gunner reported. "The ship is too fast, too unpredictable." "Impossible," said Admiral Toran. "No ship can move like that." But the human ship was moving like that. It slipped through the gap in the crescent formation like a fish swimming through rocks. And as it passed each alien ship, Weapons Officer Huang fired. She did not aim for the ships themselves. She aimed for their engines, their weapons, their sensors. One shot here, another shot there. Quick and precise, like a surgeon cutting with a knife. 3 alien ships lost power. 2 more lost their main guns. One started spinning out of control when its engines exploded. "We are through their formation," Lieutenant Yoon reported. His voice was excited. "Coming around for another pass." On the alien flagship, Admiral Toran stared at the chaos around him. His perfect formation was broken. His ships were damaged and confused, and the tiny human vessel was coming back for more. "This is not war," he said quietly. "This is something else, something wrong." He was right. This was not the war he knew. This was human war, and he was only beginning to understand what that meant. On the Indomitable, Captain Park watched the enemy fleet try to reform. They were confused, lost. They did not know how to fight an enemy who would not play by the rules. "Again," he said. "Hit them again. Do not give them time to think." The Indomitable turned and charged once more, and the aliens learned their second lesson about humanity. Humans did not stop when they were winning. They kept going until the enemy could not fight anymore. The dance of battle continued, but only one side knew the steps. The space around the Indomitable was filled with fire and broken metal. 2 hours had passed since the battle began. The alien fleet was in chaos. Ships drifted without power, others burned. Some tried to run but had nowhere to go. Weapons Officer Huang Minji watched her screen with calm eyes. She had destroyed or damaged 15 ships so far. Not by hitting them with everything she had. No, she was smarter than that. She hit their weak points. An engine here, a weapon system there. She made them useless without wasting ammunition. "Another one down," she said quietly as a Valorian cruiser lost its main power. The ship went dark and started to drift. It was not destroyed. It was worse than destroyed. It was now a floating rock that the other ships had to avoid. Commander Kim Soo-jin smiled at this. "You are making obstacles for them. Clever." "Dead ships are just metal," said Huang. "But damaged ships get in the way. They call for help. They make the enemy think about saving their friends instead of fighting us." On the Eternal Mandate, Admiral Toran watched his fleet fall apart. He had commanded warships for 40 years. He had won every battle he ever fought. But he had never faced anything like this. The human ship appeared from the smoke and fire, fired its weapons, and vanished again before his gunners could aim. It was like fighting a ghost. No, worse than a ghost. It was like being hunted by something that could see in the dark while he was blind. "They are not even trying to destroy us with honor," Toran said to his second officer. "They are hunting us, like animals hunt prey." His second officer, a younger Valorian named Crix, looked scared. "Sir, what do we do? Our formation is broken. Our ships cannot find targets. We are losing." Toran's mandibles clicked slowly. He did not want to admit it, but Crix was right. They were losing. One small ship was beating 47 warships because it refused to fight properly. Below decks on the Indomitable, Chief Engineer Bayek Jihoon was working miracles. The ship had taken hits. Not many, but enough to cause damage. A power line was cut. A cooling system was failing. A section of hull was cracked. Beck ran from problem to problem, his tools in his hands and sweat on his face. He had been a mining rig technician before joining the military. He had rebuilt broken machines in the asteroid belt with nothing but scrap metal and hope. This was easy compared to that. "Power to forward weapons is restored," he reported to the bridge. "Hull breach in Section 4 is sealed. Cooling system is, well, it is working. Do not ask how." "Good work, Chief," said Captain Park. "Keep us flying." "Always do, sir." On the bridge, Ambassador Choi Yuna stood near the back, watching everything. She was a diplomat, not a soldier. She had come on this mission hoping to shake hands with aliens and sign treaties. Instead, she was watching humanity's first battle with another species, and humanity was winning. Not because they were stronger, not because they had better ships, but because they fought differently. They fought like people who had learned war the hard way, the desperate way, the human way. "Captain," said Lieutenant Yoon from the helm, "I see something. The enemy ships on the left side are pulling back. They are opening a gap." Captain Park studied the screen. The young pilot was right. Some of the alien ships were retreating from the chaos, trying to reform at a safe distance. They were leaving a hole in their formation. "They want to regroup," said Commander Kim. "If we hit them now, we could break through completely." Captain Park did not answer right away. He was thinking. The aliens were confused and scared, but they still had numbers. If the Indomitable pushed too hard, they might get surrounded. They might get destroyed. But there was another option. "Pull back," he said. Commander Kim looked at him in surprise. "Sir?" "Pull back. Slow down. Let them think we are tired. Let them think we are retreating." Lieutenant Yoon followed the order, and the Indomitable slowed its attack. It moved away from the enemy fleet, not running, but not attacking either. Just waiting. On the Eternal Mandate, Admiral Toran saw the human ship pull back. His hearts beat faster with hope. Were they giving up? Were they finally tired? "They retreat!" cried Crix. "The humans are cowards after all." Toran was not so sure. Something felt wrong. The humans had fought like demons for 2 hours. Why would they stop now? But his fleet needed time to reform. His ships needed to find their positions again. He opened a channel to broadcast across all ships. "All vessels, return to crescent formation. The humans show weakness. We will crush them with our superior numbers. Honor will be restored." His remaining ships began to move. They formed up again just like before. Perfect lines, perfect spacing, perfect targets. On the Indomitable, Captain Park watched them reform. He nodded slowly. "They cannot help themselves," he said. "They must have their formation. They must have their order. Even after everything we showed them, they go back to what they know." "What now, sir?" asked Lieutenant Yoon. Captain Park's eyes were cold and hard. "Now we let them finish. Let them think they have won this moment. Let them believe their strength has returned." He paused. "And then we show them the truth." Commander Kim understood. This was not retreat. This was patience. This was a trap being set by a predator who knew exactly what it was doing. The wolves were resting, but only for a moment. 6 hours. The battle had lasted 6 hours. On the bridge of the Eternal Mandate, Admiral Toran looked at what remained of his fleet. 23 ships still able to fight. 24 others damaged or destroyed, all because of one small human vessel. His pride burned like fire in his chest. He was Fleet Admiral Toran. He had conquered 12 star systems. He had never lost a battle, and now these creatures, these primitive humans who did not even know how to fight with honor, were making a fool of him. "Enough," he said. His voice was low and dangerous. "I will end this now." "Sir?" asked Crix, his second officer. "All ships," Toran broadcast to his fleet. "We attack together. Every ship at once. No formation, no waiting. We charge the humans and destroy them with our numbers. They cannot dodge all of us." Crix looked worried. "Sir, that is not the way of honor. We should fight in proper—" "Honor is for enemies who deserve it," Toran shouted. "These humans have no honor. They fight like animals. So we will crush them like animals. All ships attack." On the Indomitable, Captain Park watched the alien fleet begin to move. Not in formation this time. Not in their perfect crescent. They were coming all at once from every direction, like a swarm of angry insects. "They are charging," said Lieutenant Yoon. For the first time, his voice showed fear. All of them, at the same time. Commander Kim studied the screen. "We cannot dodge 23 ships at once. This is different." Ambassador Choi Yuna felt her heart beating fast. "Captain, what do we do?" Captain Park did not answer. He was looking at the enemy flagship, the Eternal Mandate. It was in the center of the charging fleet coming straight at them. Admiral Toran's personal ship, the brain of the enemy force. "Lieutenant Yoon," he said calmly. "Do you see the flagship?" "Yes, sir." "Fly toward it." Everyone on the bridge turned to look at the captain. His order made no sense. The flagship was huge, 10 times the size of the Indomitable, and it was surrounded by 22 other warships. Flying toward it was suicide. "Sir?" Lieutenant Yoon asked. "We cannot fight 23 ships," Captain Park explained, "but we do not need to. Admiral Toran is the mind of this fleet. He gives the orders. Without him, the others will not know what to do. We do not need to destroy 40 ships. We just need to destroy one." Commander Kim nodded slowly. "Cut off the head, and the body dies." "Exactly." Lieutenant Yoon took a deep breath. Then he pushed the controls forward, and the Indomitable shot toward the enemy fleet like a bullet. The alien ships fired at them. Beams of energy and missiles flew through space. Lieutenant Yoon dodged and twisted, using every trick he knew. The ship shook as some shots hit their shields. Warning lights flashed on every console. "Shields at 60%, reported Commander Kim. 50%, 40. "Keep going," said Captain Park. Weapons Officer Huang fired at any ship that got too close. She did not try to destroy them. She just made them move out of the way, clearing a path through the chaos. On the Eternal Mandate, Admiral Toran watched the human ship coming toward him. At first, he thought they were running. Then he realized the truth. They were not running. They were attacking. They were coming for him. "They would not dare," he said. "One ship against my flagship, they will be destroyed." "Sir," said Crix, "they are getting through. Our other ships cannot stop them." Toran looked at his screen. The human ship was close now, very close, and it was not slowing down. It was getting faster. "All weapons fire on that ship," Toran ordered. "Destroy them now." The Eternal Mandate turned all its guns on the Indomitable. Hundreds of weapons fired at once. But Lieutenant Yoon was not flying in a straight line. He was dancing through the storm of fire, moving in ways that no sane pilot would try. "Shields down!" shouted Commander Kim. "We have no shields!" "Hold course," said Captain Park. His voice was steady as stone. The Indomitable was close enough to see the details of the flagship now. its huge body, its glowing bridge, its countless weapons still firing. "They are going to hit us," Crick said on the Eternal Mandate. "Sir, they are going to ram us." Admiral Toran watched the human ship fill his screen. This was impossible. No one would sacrifice their ship just to destroy an enemy. That was madness. That was human. At the last moment, just when it seemed like the ships would crash, Lieutenant Yoon pulled a maneuver that broke every rule of physics. He twisted the Indomitable sideways and flew along the hull of the flagship, so close that the metal almost touched. And as they slid past the bridge of the Eternal Mandate, Weapons Officer Huang fired everything, every missile, every cannon, every weapon the Indomitable had left. All of it poured into the flagship's bridge at point-blank range. The explosion was blinding. The Eternal Mandate shook like a dying animal. Its bridge was gone, replaced by fire and broken metal. Its lights went dark. Its weapons stopped firing. Admiral Toran lay in the wreckage of what had been his command center. He was wounded but alive. Around him, his officers were dead or dying. His beautiful ship was crippled. And through the smoke, he could see the human ship flying away, damaged, burned, but still alive, still fighting. The other alien ships stopped. Without orders from their admiral, they did not know what to do. Their formation broke apart as captains tried to decide whether to keep fighting or help their flagship. On the Indomitable, the crew was silent. They had done the impossible. They had beaten the flagship of an empire, and they were still alive. Captain Park looked at his crew. They were bruised, tired, and scared, but they were also proud. They had fought like humans, and they had won. "Well done," he said quietly. "Well done, everyone." The battle was not over yet, but the enemy's spirit was broken, and that was the beginning of the end. The Eternal Mandate drifted through space like a dead whale. Smoke poured from its broken bridge. Its weapons were silent. Its lights were dark. Around it, the remaining ships of the Valorian fleet held their positions, waiting for orders that would never come. The UES Indomitable floated nearby. The human ship was damaged too. Its hull was burned and dented. Its shields were gone, but its engines still worked. Its weapons still fired, and its crew was still alive. On what remained of the Eternal Mandate's bridge, Admiral Toran pushed himself up from the broken floor. His shell was cracked. Green blood ran down his face, but he was still breathing, still thinking. A communication device lay near his hand. He picked it up and spoke into it, his voice weak but clear. "Human vessel. This is Admiral Toran. I yield. The Valorian fleet surrenders to you." The words burned his throat like acid. In 3,000 years of Confederation history, no fleet had ever surrendered to a single enemy ship. This was shame beyond anything his people had ever known. On the Indomitable, Captain Park heard the message. He looked at his crew. They were exhausted. Commander Kim had a cut on her forehead. Lieutenant Yoon's hands were still shaking from the stress of flying. Weapons Officer Huang sat quietly, her ammunition counters showing almost empty. "Sir," said Ambassador Choi Yuna, "what do we do now?" Captain Park thought for a moment. They had won. Against all odds, against an enemy that outnumbered them 47-1, they had won. He could demand anything now: territory, resources, the enemy fleet as prizes, but that was not why they had come to the stars. "Open a channel to all ships," he said. Commander Kim did as he asked. Every alien ship in the area could now hear him. "This is Captain Park Do-hyun of the UES Indomitable," he said. "We accept your surrender, but we do not want your ships. We do not want your territory. We came here looking for friends, not enemies." He paused, letting his words settle. "Any ship that needs help, we will help. Any wounded crew, we have doctors ready. You attacked us, but we are not your enemies. We do not have to be." On the damaged ships of the Valorian fleet, alien crews listened in shock. The humans had beaten them. destroyed their honor, crippled their flagship, and now they were offering help? Admiral Toran could not understand it. He spoke again into his device. Human captain, I must know. Why? Your people fight without honor, without rules. You use tricks and deception. You are the most dangerous enemy I have ever faced. Why show mercy now? Captain Park smiled a little. It was a tired smile, but a real one. Admiral, you are right. We do not fight with honor. We fight to survive. On our world, war was not a game. It was not a way to show strength. It was a terrible thing that happened when all other choices failed. We learned to fight hard and fast and dirty because that was the only way to live. He paused again. But we also learned something else. Once the fighting stops, the killing must stop too. We fight without rules, but we do not live without them. You were a threat. Now you are not. The fighting is over. That is the only rule we have ever needed. Admiral Toran sat in the ruins of his bridge and thought about these words. The humans were not honorable in war, but they were something else, something he did not have a word for. I do not understand your people, he said at last, but I think maybe I want to understand. Ambassador Choi stepped forward on the Indomitable's bridge. This was her moment, the moment she had trained her whole life for. Admiral Toran, she said, my name is Choi Yuna. I am Earth's ambassador. We came to the stars looking for friends. We still want that. Our people are different from yours. We see war differently. We see honor differently. But perhaps that is good. Perhaps we can learn from each other. The alien fleet began to move, not to attack. Medical ships came forward to help the wounded. Repair crews went to work on damaged vessels. The humans sent their own doctors to the Eternal Mandate to help Admiral Toran and his surviving crew. Hours passed. The battlefield became something else, a meeting place, a beginning. Captain Park stood on his bridge and watched the work being done. Commander Kim came to stand beside him. You know, she said, the Confederation will hear about this. All 12 species. They will learn what happened here today. They will learn what humans can do. I know, said Captain Park. They might be afraid of us now. Good, said the captain. Let them be afraid. Fear can keep the peace better than any treaty. But let them also see what we did after we won. Let them see that humans are not just killers. We can be friends too. We can be allies. It is their choice. Lieutenant Yoon looked up from his controls. Sir, the flagship is asking permission to travel with us. Admiral Toran wants to escort us to Confederation space. He says he wants to introduce us properly. Captain Park nodded. Tell him we would be honored. The Indomitable turned toward the stars, and the battered Eternal Mandate fell in beside it. Two ships that had tried to destroy each other now flew together. Behind them, the rest of the fleet followed. Ambassador Choi watched through the window as they moved into the unknown. What do you think will happen? She asked. I do not know, said Captain Park honestly. But I know this. The galaxy thought it understood combat. They had their rules, their honor, their ways of fighting. Today they learned that those rules do not apply to everyone. They learned that humans are different. He looked at the stars ahead. Now they have to decide what to do with us. They can try to destroy us, or they can be our friends, but they cannot ignore us, not anymore. The ships flew on through the dark of space, a human battleship, and its unlikely companion, heading toward a future that no one could predict. The aliens had thought they understood combat. They were wrong. But maybe in time they would understand something more important. They would understand humanity. And that was just the beginning.